Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. For today, inshallah, we are going to solve the assignment one, which replaces test one, to see what mistakes we have done for everyone, what mistakes you have done, and how to avoid them, and why we shouldn't do that way. Okay. So at first here, I'm going to open the assignment. Where is it? Yeah, this one. Okay, this is the assignment. As I mentioned here, sometimes, especially in exams or assignments, to be able to differentiate between the excellent student and normal student, we use sometimes tricky words. That's why you have to read carefully. You have to understand what's the meaning of the words. Okay, so as you can see here, in this case study, I said, suppose that there is a language training school that offers courses to students where multiple students can be enrolled in each course and each student could take many courses. Okay, so until now everything is okay, straightforward, easy to understand. Then here, the first point, each course has ID, course name, description, instructor name, start date, end date. Then each student has student name, phone number, email, passport number. Okay. Then the last point, so the first and second points are straightforward. The third point is a little bit tricky because here I said for each enrollment of a student in a course, you need to keep a track. You need to keep a track, but I don't mention that this table has this attributes. I said we have to keep track. It's up to you where to put them. I mean, this fields is up to you. Where do you want to put them? That's why this point is open and tricky. Okay, so we have to keep track of the course and student information, course information, which means the ID of the course and the student ID also, or the passport number, then together with enroll date, full mark, date achieved, score. Okay, I didn't say that we put all of this four together in one table. Okay, why? Because one of them is not belongs to the table, which most of you have detected that. Most of you. Alhamdulillah, I'm very happy about this. Really, and some of you have solved this issue. But many of you have did a mistake. They detect the problem, but the way of solving it is totally wrong. Okay? Here, the mistake or the thing that you have to detect is the full mark. The full mark actually is one for each course, right? So if the course is if the course full mark is 60, then it will be 60 for every student, for every enrollment. So why we should repeat it? We should immediately take it to the course table. We never create a separated table for the full mark alone, as you did in your mistakes. This is really going to destroy the whole concept of the database. Okay? So here, the first requirement is to draw the entity relationship diagram. Most of you have done that, but nobody has fully drawn the entity relationship. Most of you have drawn it in incomplete manner. Only one student has drawn it in, let me say, 95% correct way. Okay? This student, Muhammad Khairul. Thank you, Muhammad Khairul. You understand what I was talking in the class. Yeah, this doesn't mean that you, the rest of you are not good or don't understand. Don't take it this way. But honestly, it's how can I say it? It's a matter of understanding the rules, not memorizing it. So you have to understand the rules, why we should do this, when we should do that, not to memorize them. Okay, because from scenario to another, the whole diagram could be changed. Okay, so here, as you can see, all of you, 23 students have missed this part. Okay, only one student, Khairul Zakaria, is the only student who remember to make it associative relation
Doctor,
for the enrollment. Yes.
I made associate entity, Doctor.
Yeah, you made, but you made it in wrong way. What's your name?
Syed Daniel.
Sorry? Which
Syed Daniel.
Daniel. What's your matric number?
202370.
The last digit? 70. Last digit. Where is it? I couldn't see it.
202370.
370. I don't have 370 here. Did you see 370?
Maybe document test, database assignment test 1. Doc.
This one is Fatin Najwa.
Up. Database assignment test 1, Doc.
Aha. So why you make this file like that?
Oh, wait.
Yeah. What I asked you to do? I asked you to
I
put your
forgot.
matric number and name, right?
Yeah, I forgot.
Okay, so you fall in the trap. Okay, no problem. Next time, please follow the instructions, because this makes my life horrible. Yeah. Okay, this one, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry for that. I didn't recognize it. Yeah, but why I selected that guy only? The same thing, right? Okay, Alhamdulillah, we have two. Anyway, it's very happy for me to find my students solving in a proper manner. Don't worry, I don't want to say that your answers are wrong, or I will be happy if there is nobody solves my questions or something like that. No, it's the opposite way. I will be very happy if all of you can achieve the task. I will be very happy. But if I see many students cannot achieve, I will be very sad. Okay. Anyway, for now, for today, we are going to go through the requirements. The first requirement is to draw the entity relationship diagram. The second requirement is to do the transform of your entity relationship into relational schema. Then I asked you to show all primary keys, foreign keys, data types used for each column. So when I say this, you have to show the primary key. If you don't show, I will cut some marks, as I mentioned, because here at the beginning, when I start your paper marking, I suppose that you get the full mark from the beginning. Then every mistake, I cut some marks. Every mistake, I cut some marks. The opposite way. This is how we do in the case study evaluation and so on. So we suppose from the beginning you get full mark, then every mistake we cut. Every mistake we cut. Okay? So here, many of you have missed primary keys, especially for the enrollment table. They mentioned that the student passport number is a foreign key and the class ID is a foreign key, but they did not mention that they are primary key at the same time. Okay. Anyway, we are going to go through it later. So the last thing is to apply the normalization technique up to third normalization form. Briefly show all needed and necessary details. It's not acceptable to only write the shape of tables, or you draw them or whatever without saying anything. It's not acceptable. Okay? Some of you have only drawn the things, or maybe put the definition of the table with its fields, and that's all. Doesn't say anything. Doesn't say this table is in the, for example, in the second normalization form, but not in the third because there are, for example, transitive dependency or something like that. Doesn't say that. I need to find this information. I need to see this information in order to give you good mark. Otherwise, you are going to lose some marks. Okay, guys, you understand the rules?
Yes.
Yeah, because we have this
Yes, sir.
opportunity. This time is okay for you now. Nobody has got less than the half. Even some, as I said, 3 or 4 has gotten less than the half. But I shifted them a little bit. I tried to help with the 2 marks to let them get into the half of the mark. Okay, so nobody have failed in this test based on the marks, but based on reality, there's some of you has failed. Even if you got 40 sometimes or 38, but you failed in some steps. So we have to understand them in order to avoid any future fail. Okay, guys, you agree?
Okay, Doctor.
Yeah. So I'm not here to blame you or to tell you that you are not good or something like that. No, it's the opposite way. I'm here to help you, to let you understand your mistake, to avoid them in future, to be a good designer in future. Okay? Let us start. I'm going to use the entity relationship diagram plus erdplus.com. So here I will create a new diagram. The first thing I have to name the diagram as school entity relationship diagram. Then here I have to select entity relationship diagram, then create. I think all of you have, you understand what is it. Okay, the first thing we have to do is to create entities. Okay, the first entity, second entity, and third entity. Okay, I make it easy for you. Okay, so here, because if I make it more complicated, maybe I add one entity that has a relation with 2 or 3 tables, then you will get in a very big issue. You understand? That's why I try to start with a very simple scenario that has a direct relation between each 2 tables and so on. I try to help you. So please help yourself. Okay, this first entity is called student. Okay, the second entity is called course. Then these 2 entities are regular, right? So both of them are regular. Only this entity is called enrollment. And this one is not regular entity, it's an associative entity. Because this one is a relation, is a table that's created to form the many-to-many relation between student and course. So this is what they call it middle table. Okay, middle table to create many-to-many relation. So the middle table all the time must be an associative relation. Must be an associative relation. You remember this all the time. I have explained this before, but maybe you cannot understand it. Okay? So here, the middle table between 2 tables to form the many-to-many relation is always associative relation. Why associative relation? Because this one is a table that creates a relation. So this table will have what they call it, its own attributes, right? That's why if we make it a relation, then we cannot assign it attributes. Okay, so here after this we have to link between this and this, or not now. Let us forget about the link now. Let us go to the PDF here and see what kind of attributes do we have. So for the course, we have ID, course name, description, instruction name, start date, and end date. Okay, so here, let us take this, add attribute. Here we call it ID. Then this one is unique. Another one called course name. Okay, course name is not unique, is not multi-valued, is not optional, is not composite, is not derived. Okay, so here we have another one called description. Description. Okay, then we have instructor name. Instructor name. Right. Then we have start date and end date. Okay, and date. Okay. I intentionally doesn't give too much explanation about this. Intentionally. Why? Because in the real life, when you go to the customer to understand about a certain system, normally they don't start with giving valuable information. At the beginning, sometimes you feel that they don't understand their own system because you feel that the customer gives you a stupid information about his system or her system. So that's why I tried to give you a very basic, very simple information. I wanted you to ask me in the group, but unfortunately, only very little of you have asked me. Maybe 2 or 3. Even many of you has questions, I'm sure, but they don't ask. I don't know why. In the real life, in order to understand, you have to ask. Anything you don't understand, you have to ask about it. Okay, guys? So here we have finished. Then we have what they call it student table that has a student name, phone number, email, passport number. Here, start with the passport number, which is the primary key, and student name. It's not unique. Then I didn't mention in the student name, I didn't mention that we have first name and last name. So why some of you wanted to make the life more hard? So when nobody asks about the first name and last name, so why you should, I mean, divide them into 2 fields? It's easy. Just make it 1 field. No need to waste your time in something that's not required. Okay, some of you has divided this student name into 2 attributes, which is first name and last name. Okay, even some of you has divided it into 3 parts: first name, middle name, last name. Okay, it's not going to give you any extra marks. Okay, so things that's not required, please don't do it. Don't waste your time in it. Phone number, email. Phone number and email. Email, if you want to make it unique, it's okay. Because if let's say you don't want to register 2 students with the same email, so then you can make it unique. Also, the phone number, you can make it unique. If you want, it's up to you. It's up to the real scenario. For the email is not transferable. That's why we can easily make it unique, and it's not going to make any issue. But for the phone number, it could be transferred if, let's say, the owner of the phone number doesn't, top up the balance of the, the phone for like 2-3 months, then it's going to be expired, and this phone number will be sold to another person. The other person could be registered as a student in this system, so it could cause an issue. Okay, that's why it's not advisable to be set to unique. Okay, is that clear, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. So please, when you think about something, you try to open your mind. Try to open your mind. Try to ask questions to yourself. Try to think about the possible scenario that could happen. Okay. Then here, what do we have for the enrollment? For the enrollment, we have enrollment date, full mark, date achieved, score. So here, what do we have? We have enrollment date, enroll underscore date. Then we have full mark and what else? Score, right? Score. Then date achieved. Okay. Like this. So here we shouldn't mention the primary key. What is this? Oh, this one is passport number. Okay. So the passport number, that's the field of the relation between the students and enrollment, shouldn't be added as attribute here for the enrollment. Why? Because at the level of the entity relationship, it will be understood by the relation. So from the relation, we will understand that this field is also available here for the enrollment. And also the course ID, also through the, what they call it, through the relation, it will be understood that the ID is also here, available here in the enroll. Okay, let us now connect. Okay, this one is a relation. So this relation actually is, what kind of this relation? Can you tell me? Is it one to many or many to one, or many to many, or one to one? What is it? Anyone can answer?
Many to many?
Many to many.
One to many.
One to many.
One to many. One
Yeah.
to many.
So which side is one and which side is many?
Course one, enrollment many.
You know why? Because this one has the primary key. So the one that has the primary key is mostly the one side. Is the one side. Okay? So here this relation at the course, because as I mentioned here, the entity ERD plus is working the opposite way. So if we want to put one here at the course side, we go to the other side and put one. Okay, this one. Could we have enrollment without course? No, right? So it's mandatory. Okay, what's about the enrollment? Could we have course with many enrollments?
Yes.
Yes, so it's many, right? But we cannot have one enrollment with multiple courses, right? Every enrollment row is only one course, right? So that's why the other side is one. So here, okay, what's about the other feature? Is it mandatory or optional? I mean here, the enrollment side, is it mandatory or optional?
Mandatory.
Mandatory. Why? Why mandatory? It's not mandatory.
Each have one course.
Not like that. It's not like that. This one, if enrollment, every enrollment must have one course. That's why we put mandatory here at the course side, because the course is mandatory for the enrollment. But the enrollment is not mandatory for the course, because sometimes we create a course, but unfortunately, for some reason, no students want to enroll in that course, right? So in that case, we have a course without any enrollment. So here, this side is optional, right? Yeah, this is the mistake of the 2 or 3 students who have drawn this diagram in 95%, as I said, correct. They missed to put this optional, because this one is very important. Okay, because if you are the person who are doing the entire system, then you can detect the mistake and you go back and correct it. But if, let's say, you are working in a team, then you create this wrongly, then the other team member is going to do the things in wrong manner, right? Because you give them this requirement, this drawing, they will design based on that. They will not come and ask you unless it's allowed. And sometimes the other person doesn't understand, what if we make it optional or mandatory? Then he is not coming, he's not going to ask you. Then the mistake will propagate until it could be detected by the user. Okay? Okay, this side is done. What's the relation name here? We could say enrollment as, for example, course has multiple enrollments. Okay, what's about the student side here? So student also could has also, so as here. Okay, what's the types of the relation? The sides of the relation, is it many to many, one to one, one to many? What is it? Can you tell me?
One to many.
One to many. Which side is one?
Student is one.
Yeah, because it has the primary key involved in the relation, right? So here, this one actually is the one. So we go to the other side, enrollment, and we say one. And this one, is it mandatory or optional? Could we have enrollment into a class, into a course without student number?
No.
No. So it is mandatory. Okay. Okay. The other side. The other side is what? One or many?
Many.
Many. Okay, many. Correct. Because every student could have many enrollments in different courses. Okay, or even in the same course, the same student should be able to enroll in the same course if he failed, or maybe if he got very bad mark, then he wants to improve his mark or her mark, then he should be able to enroll again into the same course, right? So this is the real scenarios. This is the real scenarios that we have in the real life. That's why we have to take them into our account. Okay, so here, what's about the other way? Is it necessary for a student to have enrollments, or maybe we have students without being enrolled in any course? Is it possible?
No, must have enrollment.
Yes, must. So the other side is what? Mandatory, right? This is the scenario. Okay, now we stop here. Any one of you has an issue with this mandatory or optional manner, or also one or many sides? I mean, anyone has a problem with the cardinality? Please, if you have a problem, don't be shy. You are here, always remember, you are here in this class to understand, to learn. If you are shy, you never understand, you never learn. Okay?
I have mistake only at optional.
Yeah. Because you don't think carefully about it, right? You have to
Yeah.
always think in all possible scenarios. And not only the possible scenarios, you have also to think about the real rules of the school or enrolling in courses or so on. So you will understand that the course could be offered, but maybe nobody liked this course and nobody enrolled in it. So this is a possible case, right? But it's a rule to allow student be enrolled in the same course if he or she failed at the first time. Or maybe if he or she got achieved very bad mark, then they want to get better mark to improve their CGPA, for example. Okay? It depends on the institute rules or the school rules. Okay? Okay, no questions until now? Is it clear?
Yes, Doctor.
Clear.
Hopefully. Since you don't want to ask any question, I will suppose that everything is clear. Okay? I don't want to tell you that we have some mistakes here in this design because we, at the beginning, we start the design based on the provided information, right? But it's not an issue if you, from the beginning, realize that the full mark shouldn't be here. It should be attached to the course because this one belongs to the course. So for a certain course, every certain course, it has only one full mark. Is going to be used for all students enrolled in the same course. Okay? Unless you have another way or another rule of doing this. If let's say you want to change the full mark based on the intake, in this case you have to create another table called intake, then you assign the course with the full mark and also with the instructor, because the course could be given by different instructors, depends on the intake, right? Another scenario is to have multiple groups of the course, and each group is given by different instructor. So in many scenarios could come to our minds, but we have to stop at the scope given by the instructor. So if I give you like this, you shouldn't think about the other things like instructor, groups, intakes, other things. You shouldn't talk about them. You shouldn't think about them unless I mentioned them here in somewhere. So maybe if I said, suppose that the instructor of the course could be changed depends on the intake. So in that case, you have to take the intake into your account. So you have to create the table for the intake. Okay? But since I didn't mention here, you shouldn't think about it. Because if you start thinking about every possible scenario, then you are not going to finish your system design. So you have, from the beginning, you have to draw a scope for yourself. Okay? You have to draw a scope for yourself to design your system. Otherwise, your system become very big system, will have many unnecessary things available that's not required by the user. Then you will waste a lot of time doing some things not required. Okay? Try to understand how to create a scope for yourself. Okay, for now, here, I am going to keep this full mark here, but later we will see what's wrong with that. Okay, so this step is already finished. So it's safe. We go back to documents. We go back here to the school. So if we do convert to relational scheme, relational scheme. Okay, here, based on that diagram, we have this entity relationship or relational schema. Sorry. Okay, here, no matter what we have here, actually, because this tool could deal with many types of databases. Because after we finish this, we can generate the source code, generate the what they call it, the SQL from this diagram to be implemented as a real database. Okay, I will show you how. Here, this is the relation schema. You can click here, then you can generate your SQL. So this is how to create. Okay, so here we can see that we have integer, right? But is this integer available in our SQL developer tool? It's not available, right? Because here we have only number. We have only numbers. I will open and come back to this. Okay, many of you have used the integer type, but anyway, I didn't cut any marks because I understand that you want to make it integer. But I cut marks for students who make date field as integer type. Date field cannot be an integer type. This is a very big mistake. Okay, date field cannot be an integer type. Date field must be a date, or if you have some processing that couldn't be done by the date type, then maybe you make it like varchar. But you have to understand, based on your decision, you have to understand what is the consequences. If you make it varchar, then every time you want to format it as a date, you have to convert it to date. Then you have to know how to deal with that. Okay, if let's say we want to create a table here, for example, new table. Okay, here, suppose that this is a column. What types of data do we have here? Do we have int? Yes. Okay, I'm sorry about it. So I thought they don't have, but anyway, I didn't cut any marks about the use of the integer because I thought they have integer, complete integer, not int. Anyway, they have also float, they have decimal, they have number, they have varchar, and many things. Some of you have used only char. Char also could be used, but as we said, char is consuming the storage space. Okay, so please avoid the use of the char unless your field is all the time is used, fully used. So if let's say you make it varchar 2, then in every case you put 2 characters. But if you, for example, let's say you make the full name like 100, char 100, then sum of names has only 10 characters only. So 90 characters have been deducted from the space of your hard disk while they are not used. They are still empty. So this is a wastage of your storage. Okay, that's why they came to the varchar. And even to varchar is not the optimal. There are another one called nvarchar. Nvarchar is available in the SQL, Microsoft SQL. But here I don't see. In nchar they have. They have also in varchar too. Okay. Okay. Let us go back to the diagram here. And go to this. Okay. For student name cannot be integer, right? It must be a varchar or char. Both of them can work, but as I said, varchar is more better because here maybe we could allow 100 characters, but in some cases we only use 20 or 30. Okay, so here we save the space of our hard disk. Okay, phone number also cannot be an integer. Do you know why? Because if we make it integer, then we are going to lose the left side 0. Because like in Malaysia here, phone numbers will start with 011, 017, 016, 014. If we make it integer, then that 0 is going to be lost. This is one thing. The other thing, if let's say we want to format our phone number, like we want to put the country code, so in this case we have to put plus, for example, for Malaysia plus 60, right? So it will have a special characters like a plus. And also we could use dash, we could use braces also to format the phone number, or maybe to show the extension. For example, if let's say we are saving like a landline phone number, then we want to mention the extension for the certain office or something like that, then we are going to use braces, right? So in this case, integer is not a proper type, so it's better to make it varchar, maybe 25 or maybe 20, whatever, depends on the country. Because in some countries who has the countries that has a lot of population, then their numbers are very large, like in India or in some countries. Okay, but countries that has small population, their numbers are still somehow short. Okay, then the email, for the email we also we cannot make it integer. Some of you have make email also integer. This is totally wrong. So here for the email we could make it like 40, because we cannot limit the I mean the numbers or the letters or the characters used for email. Okay, that's why we should accept any email. So even in many cases we make it like 60 or 70, because we shouldn't want to make this as a limitation of our system. So maybe some of the users want to, or students want to be involved in this system because of their email is very lengthy, they cannot be registered. We want to avoid that mistake. Okay, so here, done. For the course name also should be varchar, maybe like 100. What's about the ID? The ID could be number, could be varchar. Why? Because it depends on the school, depends on the university or the institute that we are targeting. So if let's say we are building system for UBM, for example, UBM courses are mixed between characters, letters and numbers, which they call it alphanumeric. So in this case, we have to make it varchar. Then here for UBM, we have for the courses we have 3 letters and 4 digits. So together they are 7. But maybe in future for some reason the code could be increased. The length of the code could be increased to like 8 or 10 or whatever. So maybe we make it 12. Okay, try to think about the logic, about the possible scenarios, and try to be reasonable in assigning your data types and field lengths. Okay, for the description is also varchar. So also the description could be like 250 or even more, depends on how they want to make it. Then the instructor name is also varchar. So here we could make it like similar to the student name. So here student name, we make it 100. Then here there is no difference because the instructor name is similar to the student name, right? So it could be also 100. Then here the start date is impossible to be set to integer. It cannot work. So we better put it date. If we want to save the date only, if we want to save the date and time, then we have to find date and time. So in this, here in the entity relationship diagram, we don't have the time, so maybe we make it custom or whatever, then later we modify. Okay, so date has no length here. Also, the end date has no length. For students who cannot understand what is the meaning of start date and end date, the start date is the starting date of the course, and the end date is the end date of the course. So any course offered by any school or any institute or whatever, it should have a starting time, starting date and end date, right? So that's why it's unique for every course. It should have an end, start or end date. Okay? Is that clear, guys? If you want to think about advanced scenarios, so this course is it could start many times, depends on the intakes, right? So in this case, if we mentioned that the course will start and end depends on the intake, then in that case we have to have the intake table, and the intake should have start and end date. Okay? But in our scenario, I did not mention. That's why we simply make it like that. So maybe to solve this issue in this basic design, we could play with the course ID. So maybe, for example, the course ID is SSK3408. Then we put like 20. That means the intake of 2020. If for next intake, maybe if 2020 is this course is going to be held for like 2-3 times, then we could say -1, then -20, -2, like this. The same number again, 20-3. So every time we could repeat the course information, and here in this case we could give different instructors for every course. So maybe this one could be given by teacher Ali, this one could be given by teacher Ain, this one could be given or instructed by teacher Muhammad, for example, and so on. Okay, is that clear, guys? So it's many scenarios. It depends on the requirements of the system. We should handle the design. Okay, any question so far?
No.
Okay, then here for the enrollment. For the enrollment, many of you has done mistake. Some of you has 1 or 2 students only said that the enrollment is enrollment primary key is the ID. The first thing, we shouldn't keep this field as ID. It's wrong. Why? Because this one, if we keep it ID, anyone will understand that this is the ID of the enrollment, but this is the course ID. So we have to rename this course ID. The second one, passport number, is very clear. Passport number is coming from student. Definitely the course doesn't have passport. Okay, so that's why we shouldn't, no need to modify the passport number. But if you want to modify, then also here you can say student also for passport number. Okay, now is much clearer. Am I right? Okay, so here, based on our entity relationship diagram, the enrollment primary key is the combination of 2 fields, course ID and student passport number, right? Okay, let us think about the consequences of using this primary key. Can you think about the consequences? What's the consequences, guys? Is there any possible problem could happen?
if we search for student, if we search for enrollment, then it will also appear student and course. Is it like that?
No, not like that.
If
Yeah.
if a student enroll many course, it's going to be wrong. Is it like that?
No. This design will allow, for example, student number 2 to enroll in course 3408, and also in course, for example, 3301. Also, the same student could be enrolled in 3200, for example, right? Because each row now is unique, right? Unique. So there is no problem with the uniqueness, right? But there is another problem with the application itself. Can you think about it? What's wrong with this? I mentioned this
The
issue.
score?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
The score. If the lecturer posts so many score, it's going to be wrong.
No. 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 Score is going to be like this. For this, maybe 20. For this, maybe 32. For example, this one is 35. It's okay. No problem. There is no issue. There is another issue I mentioned when we created the entity relationship diagram. When we created the relations here, I talked about the issue, but maybe no one of you has catch up with this issue. No one could find the problem. Okay, I will help you.
Full mark?
Suppose, yes. Okay. You have an answer?
Full mark? The full mark?
Just forget about the full mark.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Okay, suppose this guy, student number 2, has failed. So he's supposed to be able to again enroll into the same course, right? So this one, this record now, oh, the notification bar is appeared. Okay, now this part here, this primary key value is exactly the same, right? So this one is considered duplication. Am I right? While this two supposed to be unique because they are the primary key, right? So here, if we use this design, we have two choices. The first thing is not to allow students who fail in a course to retake the course, which is unacceptable. Am I right? Is it
Yes.
acceptable or unacceptable?
Unacceptable.
Yes. Okay, what's the second option? The second option is to delete this, and to create the other record. And also deleting data is wrong option. Okay? It's wrong option. Why wrong option? Because here we are going to lose the history. Am I right? So the two options are not good. What to do? We have to think about something could be used to differentiate between the first enrollment here, this one, between the first enrollment and the second enrollment.
Maybe
What could
enrollment ID?
enrollment ID is another issue also. I'm going to talk about it. The enrollment date. Enrollment date is something very unique between these two. So it can be used to differentiate. So here the same student cannot enroll into the course in the same enroll date. But if the enroll date is different, student can retake the course. So maybe the course is only 10 days, then the student fail, he can retake the course again after 10 days. So here, for example, the date, for example, is 1st of October 2020. Then he failed maybe after 10 days, the result come out, he failed, the date now is 10 of October. Then there is another intake after 1 month, which is the 1st of, for example, November. Then the student could take it in November. Okay, so here the value of the primary key is unique, right? So the issue is already solved. Okay, some of you have introduced only one student, if I'm not mistaken, uses enrollment ID. So, okay, if you make enrollment ID, that will create another story. That will create another story which could cause some issues. Okay, we have to think about that. Suppose that we make enrollment ID like 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Okay, and this is the primary key. This is only the primary key. So in this case, the system will automatically create the primary key by incrementally add 1 for each new record. Okay, if let's say we want to add a new record after number 4, then the system will find the maximum ID is 4 plus 1. It will be 5 automatically. We can configure that as automatically incremental field. Okay, which is very practical for many scenarios, for many cases. Like if let's say you have country file, country table, then every country should have an ID, right? To make the index, to help the system become faster. And also this ID is going to be used as a foreign key for other tables. Okay, but for here, if you make the enrollment ID as a primary key, then each student could enroll in the same course many times, even in the same hour or even in the same day. Because for every enrollment, the student will get different number, right? But if this one, let's say 2, 2, 2, and all of this enrollment are for the course 3408, also this one is 3408, 3408, then here the value is still unique, right? Because the primary key here is the enrollment ID. Okay, you may think different way. You may think that if you combine these three together, then that scenario cannot be happen. Right? Do you think that way? If you make the enrollment ID with the course ID, with the student ID and the course ID together as a primary key, also the same scenario could happen, because here now you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 8 here. This here is 2, 2, 3, 4, 0, 8. Still unique, right? Because of this one. So the issue doesn't, or this design doesn't solve the issue. Okay, is that clear, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. So the best way is to attach the date here to the primary key. Okay. So to do that, we have to go here, and we have to go to the primary key. We have to attach also the enroll date. Okay. You see, because the enrollment date is the field that will differentiate between the similar values. That's why it's pushed to the beginning. Pushed to the beginning. Okay? Is it clear so far?
Yes.
Yeah, it's clear.
Anyone has a question? Anyone has a question?
No, doctor.
Okay, for the full mark. For the full mark actually could be an integer because the full mark is normally an integer value. We never seen a full mark like 50.5. Never. It could be 40, could be 20, could be 100, something like that. So it could be an integer. Okay, no problem. But the score couldn't be an integer. It must be a float or number. Okay, so here we can mention that number with three three places of the fraction. What they call it? The precision is 3. So means that if we have a floating point, we will have 3 numbers after the point. Okay, so the score of the student could be like 20.75. Okay, or maybe 2 only. The precision is only 2. Okay, then date achieved here is the date of achieving the score is also must be a date, cannot be an integer. Okay, is that clear, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Any one of you has drawn this? Nobody, right? Nobody of you has drawn this design. Okay. Regarding the primary key, I want to make everything clear for you guys because I don't want you to make the mistake again for your future assessment. Based on the requirements of transferring or transforming the entity relationship diagram into relational schema, this design is correct. Okay, this design is correct, but I left some parts for the excellent student to tell me after this. Yeah, we all agree that this transformation is correct, but I need from the excellent students to write something here after or below the diagram to say that relying on the course ID and student passport number as a primary key is going to create another issue, which is not allowing student to retake the course if he or she failed. Stop. Dot after that. Okay, this is very, very enough to me to differentiate between the good student and the excellent student. Okay, then after that you should tell me what's the solution. After that you should say that to avoid this issue we have to involve or to include the enrollment date into the primary key to allow each student to retake the same course if he or she failed in that course before, or maybe to allow them to retake the course in case they want to improve their marks. Okay, so this is going to give you full mark because our database design actually is not only to follow the rules of the database design, because database design rules doesn't understand about the business rules. I need you all to follow the design rules. This is the first thing, to follow the design rules. And the second thing is to think about the business rules and to apply them into your design. So based on the business logic or the business rules, the enrollment date must be included in the primary key. Otherwise, something wrong will happen, and we have to mention what is the wrong thing that will happen. Okay? So far clear?
Yes.
Yes.
This is the first and second requirements. Okay? Let us come to the third requirements. Third requirements is to apply the normalization technique up to third normalization form. Okay, if you remember that day, I explained to you how to make the normalization, right? Step by step. I opened the Word file. I started to copy and paste from the slide. I copied the scenario and everything. Then I started for the transformation, how we make the transformation, how we make the normalization, and so on. I explained all of this step by step. Okay. After I saw this diagram, actually, I remember. Some of you guys, I want to go back to this. Some of you has divided the student name, as I mentioned, to first name, middle name, last name. Some of you has taken the instructor name into other table. So if you do that, be sure that I didn't cut any mark. Okay, if you don't do it, make sure you also didn't lose any marks, because I didn't highlight this point. It's up to you here. If you want to make it in different table, is okay. I understand that you are into the next level. Okay. If you don't want to make it in different table, it's also okay, because I did not require.
So doctor,
Yeah.
if I create if I take out instructor name and I create instructor ID and instructor name on a new table, then in the course I put instructor ID, it's correct, right?
Yeah, it's correct. It's better than this. 100%. Nobody is arguing with this. But because of this, this is an assignment, and nobody asks you to do this. It's like wasting time. But honestly, I'm telling you, if you do this, I respect you. If you take this instructor name into other table, even I did not require, I will respect you, because I understand that, okay, this guy understand what is the meaning of repeating the same instructor name for many courses. Okay, so this is one thing. But because this one is not required in our assignment, you are not going to get any extra mark. Okay?
Okay, doctor.
Yeah. Unless you talk about it in the, what they call it, in the anomaly part, in the, what they call it, normalization. So in that case, I'm going to give you full mark for that. Even if you did mistakes for other small parts, maybe I will not take into account. So I will respect this part, because this one is going to cause an anomaly, right?
Yes. The
Yeah.
name will be
Yeah.
repeating.
But you make this, but you didn't talk about the anomaly, right? So you have to talk about it. That's why I didn't want to count. I didn't want to count, because I didn't require, and nobody have done this. Only two students, I think, they create instructor table. I think only two students. Okay.
Doctor,
Yes.
doctor,
Yes.
how do I talk about the anomaly if I already separated the table from the relational scheme, and then
Mhm.
at the
The
normalization,
question before you separate, I
yeah,
saw some of you, you know that some of you has created 8 tables for this design, for this scenario. In every time they find a mistake, they feel like there's something wrong, they start to create another table. It's not like that, guys. It's not like that. Not in every case we create another table. We never create a table unless we need it. Unless we need it. If you create a table for the mark, create a table for score, as some students have done, This is very wrong. This is going to destroy the whole concept of the database. The entire concept of the database is already gone. Okay? So here I'm going to explain step by step for you guys. Hopefully you understand how to make it in future, inshallah. Okay. One more thing. Some of you has drawn like this, multi-value for the instructor name. Instructor name is not multi-value, guys. It's not a multi-valued field. Even if we need to drag it into another table, it doesn't mean this field is multi-valued. We want to drag it into a different table because we want to avoid the anomaly, the what they call it, the modification anomaly, deletion anomaly, and so on. Okay? So this one is wrong. Never do it. Okay? For this scenario, I mean, for this scenario, you never put multi-valued for the instructor name. Okay? Multi-valued like in the field of skills, for example, or maybe spoken languages, or maybe hobbies, or maybe preferred food, something like that. That could be multi-valued. So maybe if I want to record what they call it, the hobbies, for example, for a student. So if we make it like that, that means the system will accept only one hobby, right? But in this case, it's going to be like this, multi-value. Then this will require different table and middle table to assign the every student to multiple hobbies. Okay, this is how we create the multi-valued. Okay, for now, let us go to the to what they call it, the normalization. Okay. So we will start the normalization based on this diagram, right? Not based on the entity relationship diagram. Okay, based on this diagram, what's about student? Is it in the first normalization form? Let us think about it.
Yes.
What's the requirements for the first normalization form? The primary key and
No multi-value.
there supposed to be no multi-valued attribute. Okay, so student name is not multi-valued, phone number is not multi-valued, email is not multi-valued. Okay, that's why student is in the first normalization form. What's about the course? ID is the primary key. Then course name is not multi-valued, description is not multi-valued, instructor name is not multi-valued, start date is not multi-valued, end date is not multi-valued. So it's in the first normalization form. What's about the enrollment? Guys, if you have any question, if you disagree with me in anything, don't keep silent. Don't keep silent. Just say it. I allow you to tell me that I'm wrong. I will be very happy if you find that I'm wrong. Okay, guys? Don't be shy. If you want to tell me that, sorry, doctor, you are wrong. Okay, acceptable. I will never be angry. Okay, deal, guys?
Okay, doctor.
Yeah. Don't worry about anything. I'm here to, to help you to understand. I don't care about the words. I don't care if you tell me that I'm wrong. Okay? Just tell me. If I'm wrong, just tell me that I'm wrong. Okay. So far, is it okay with you? Do you agree with it for the student and course in the first normalization form?
Yes.
What's about the enrollment? Primary key is there. right? So this is the first thing. The second thing, what's about the full mark? Not multi-valued. Score is not multi-valued. Date achieved is not multi-valued. So the enrollment is also in the first normalization form. Okay, do you agree?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. The second thing, how we go to the second normalization form, we have to avoid any partially dependency or partial dependency on the primary key. Okay, so in this case, for the student, because the student has only one field as a primary key, so there is no partial dependency. There is no possibility actually to have partial dependency. And also the course is the same. The course has only one field for the primary key, so partial dependency is not possible. Okay, easily we can say that, and we can say that student and course are in the second normalization form. But for the enrollment, because the enrollment has a composite primary key, which includes 3 fields. So here we may have partial dependency, right? It's possible to have partial dependency. Not necessary, but possible. Okay, let us check. What's about the full mark?
Full mark need to be changed to course.
Why? Don't tell me what to do. Tell me what's the problem first, then after that tell me what's the solution. Don't start with the solution. You have to tell what's the problem first. So the full mark is fully dependent on the course ID only. Am I right? Because for every course, for for a certain course, it will have full mark. For all students, it's the same full mark, right? So it's not going to be different. So if the enrollment date is different, full mark still the same. Also, if the student is different with the same course ID, the full mark still the same, right? So that's why this full mark is partially dependent on the course ID, and because the full mark is mostly changed, always change if the course ID change, or it should follow the course ID, then we should say that the solution is to take the full mark out from the enrollment table and we put it in the course table. Okay, so the solution is like this. We have full mark here, and the data type is number with 2 digits after the floating point, and here this one full mark should be removed. Okay, this is the solution. Okay, what else? What's about the score? Score, is it depends on the course ID only, or course ID and student passport only, or depends on the 3 fields of the primary key? What do you think?
I think
I
it
think
depends.
course it depends on the score it depends on the course ID.
No, because
I
if
think
let's
it
say we
depends
are
on
2
the
students taking the same course, I may score 20 and you may score 30, right? So the scores depends on the course ID and student, but the student ID also at the same time. So for every student in the same course, there will be a different score. Am I right? Right or not, guys?
yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. What's if we have? What's about the enroll date? Is it also one of the affecting parameters or the affecting fields of the score? Is the does the score affected by the change of the enroll date?
Yes.
Who say yes? Who say no?
Yes.
If you
Answer
say yes, tell me why. If you say no, tell me why.
Because
Good.
maybe the first one, when you take the course, you get maybe you get fail. But for the second one, maybe
Yes.
get
Yes, correct. So if let's say we take the course as the scenario that we created, if I take the course on 1st of October 20, then I got my ID is 2, and the course is, for example, 50, course code 50, and I achieved, for example, 20 over 100, for example. So I failed, right? Then I take the course again on 1st of November 20, the same ID, student ID, the same course ID, but the mark here also could be fail also, could be 30 again, and it's also fail, all right? But here the score actually is different based on the entire set of fields that forms the primary key, right? So if I want to retrieve this value, what should I give you to search about? I should give you the date, I should give you the student number, and also I should give you the course. Am I right? In order to retrieve this certain value. Otherwise, if I give you the intake only, you will return set of scores of the students who had intake in all courses in this date. Okay, if I give you the date and the course ID, then you will give me all students who have intake, all the scores of the same student, number 2, in the courses he intaked in this days, in this date. Okay, so the result is not certain, right? Is not precise. So in order to get this certain value, I have to give you the whole set of the primary key. So the meaning is that the score is fully dependent on the entire primary key. What's about the date achieved? What's about the date achieved? If let's say the result of the course is getting out after 10 days, or the course is only 10 days. So here the score achieved date is, for example, 10 of October, right? And here 10 of November. Am I right? This date, actually, this date is not depends on the score. It's wrong. It's wrong, guys. It's not depends on the score. It depends on here. Depends on the full primary key. The score achieved in this 10 of October is for the course 50 that's taken by student number 2 in the intake of 1st of October. Not the intake, the same course, the intake of 1st of November is different. That one is 30, but this one is 20. So this date is not depends on the score. It depends on the full value of the primary key. So if the primary key changed, as you can see here, for the same student, for the same course, but different intakes, the dates changes or the value of the primary key changes, then the achieved date is changed. Okay? Especially for the courses, if let's say the system allows student to do the exam flexibly. So maybe they have 2 or 3 days to achieve the exam. So some of them are submit in the first day, some submit in the second day, some submitted in the third day. So they have different achievement date. Okay? Is that clear, guys?
Yes.
Okay, so everything now is okay. Now all our tables are in the second normalization form. What's about the third normalization form? Third normalization form. What's about student? Is there any transitive dependency? Is there any transitive dependency? For student, there is no transitive dependency, right? What's
No,
about the
no.
course?
No.
No transitive dependency. Are you sure? What's about the instructor name?
Yeah,
Is there
instructor name.
a transitive dependency here? Here, there is no transitive dependency, guys. For the instructor name, there is no transitive dependency. There will be a transitive dependency if we have instructor ID like this, then the instructor name will be based on the instructor ID, and the instructor ID is going to be depend on the course ID. So in this case, we have a transitive dependency. Okay, guys, is that clear? If we have instructor ID and instructor name in the course table, then this instructor name has what they call a transitive dependency. So they are not based on the ID of the course, but they are based on the ID of the instructor. So in this case, easily we can say that there is a transitive dependency here in the course of the table, in the table of the course. And to solve that, we have to take out the instructor name, instructor ID in another table called instructor. And for the instructor table, the primary key is the instructor ID. And also here we have to remove this instructor name. We keep only the instructor ID. And here the instructor ID is a foreign key. Okay, so in that case, we should say like this. We should create a table. Then this table called instructor. I will give you all possible scenarios. Instructor. Please stay with me, okay, guys? I want you to stay with me to understand. Here, ID.
Okay, Doctor.
Yes. Instructor. Okay. Don't care about the types now, because this is not our business now. Our business is to understand the concept of the normalization. Okay. So here the primary key is this, save. Okay. What's about here? Here we have to remove the instructor name, remove. Then here we have to create a connection between this and that. So what is that connection? That connection actually is, where is it? How to modify this? The wrong way. Oh, okay. Sorry. We have to fix this in. How can I make this? Okay, this one is wrong here. Okay. The link should be from the weak type to the strong type. Okay, here we have instructor and course. Which one is the weak and which one is the strong? Guys, we want to create a relation between the instructor and course based on the instructor ID. Which type is the strong? Is it the instructor or the course?
Course.
Course.
No, instructor, because the instructor, the relation is based on the instructor ID. Which one has the instructor ID as a primary key? This table. That means this table is the strong, and that table is here foreign key, right? So the
Yes.
foreign key side is the weak. So here the relation, the connection should be like that. Okay, now is correct. So here the field inserted here as a foreign key. Let us delete the instructor ID, the one that we created manually. This one is the one that we created by the drag and drop. Okay, so here this one is instructor ID. Okay, clear? So
Yes.
now here we don't have any any transitive dependency. Okay, if this is the scenario, if we have instructor name and instructor ID in the course state, okay, but in our case actually we don't have this scenario, right? We don't have that scenario. What we have is only the instructor name, right? So is there a transitive dependency here?
No.
There is no transitive dependency here. Okay, so the course table is in the third normalization form. Student is also in the third normalization form. Enrollment also in the third normalization form. Okay, confirm?
So doctor, if I create a score table, it is wrong, right?
Yeah,
If I
it's
write
wrong.
student score table is wrong, right?
For what we need to create score table? For what?
Maybe it's I think it's easier for the lecturer to check
Okay,
the
let
score.
let
That's why I create
let me know what's your name.
Syed Daniel.
Sorry.
The 2021
To
202370.
this one, right? This one.
Up. Yes.
This one. Okay. Okay, this one. Don't be shy if I show your answer to your colleagues. Don't be shy, okay? Because here we want to learn. It's a very big mistake if we hide our answer, even if it has some mistakes. Okay? So I don't want to show you my review here, my comments, but here what you have done. Where is it? Here you created instructor course. You don't have here the score table.
No, I have student marks there.
Student mark. Okay. Why do you created the student mark?
Because I thought it will be easier for if they want to check only their marks. So I create student mark, and then I thought the score will distract the enrollment because
Okay.
I don't understand the keyword of full mark and score.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's my mistake there.
Okay. Let me explain to you. If we create this, is it possible to have a student mark record for course, for example, 50 and student number 2, without having enrollment? They have to be enrolled first, right? They have to be
Yes.
enrolled in order to get their full mark. Sorry, their score, right? Okay, here the score actually is given based on the enrollment, because the student could be enrolled in the same course multiple times if he failed, right? So for every enrollment we may have different result. The score actually is the result. The full mark actually is, for example, the result is 70, but the full mark is 100. So you got 70% here. But for example, your score is 70 and the full mark is 150, then your score is less than 50%, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's all about it. So the full mark is the full mark given or considered by the instructor for this course. Okay, so the full mark is supposed to be attached to the course table, and the score should be attached to the enrollment, not to create another table, because here you will have a lot of, you can make it this way, it works. You can make it this way, it works, but it's bad design. It will create, actually we create the relational database to avoid wasting time, to avoid repeating information, to keep minimize the size of our data as much as we can. But in your case, you created another table that creates duplication of data that consumes a lot of space also, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is wrong. Okay. So here, based on the normalization, we don't have any problem. We don't have any problem. Okay. So all our tables are in the third normalization form, but we still have an issue. We still have an issue. So if you go here to your slides, where is it? Normalization, this one. What do we say here in this slides is that the normalization is a technique. You remember the definition of the normalization. The normalization is a technique to avoid anomalies. Okay? What is the anomalies? The anomalies, as I said here, are three types: insertion, deletion, modification. So maybe when you use the normalization technique, maybe this technique cannot 100% guarantee that you avoid all possible anomalies. Okay, our tables are in the third normalization form, but we still have anomalies, right? So as you can see here, the last level here, to remove remaining anomalies, because after all of these steps, we may still have some anomalies. Then you come up to the fifth normalization form, if you remove all of these remaining anomalies. Okay, let us think about what kind of anomalies do we still have. This instructor name. Okay, the instructor name actually is going to be repeated with all possible courses. Okay, let me open the SQL, the Excel. I will open Excel to give you a real view of the possible data. Okay. Don't go anywhere, guys, okay? Because this one is very important for you to understand. Excel. I'm going to drag this that side and this here to make it assigned. Because I want to open this here and I need to see the tables at the same time. Okay, based on the tables at the left side, what do we have here? We have course, right? Course table, and we have student table. Okay, let us start student table, course table here. Okay, here for the course table, what do we have? We have ID, we have name. I'm going to use short names, okay? Description, and start, in, full mark. What else? Instructor name. Okay. Here for student, what do we have? We have passport number, name, phone, email. Okay. Then here, what do we have in the enrollment? Okay. We will have the course ID, student. We will say ID here, and the ID will be linked to the passport number, and here the enroll date, and what they call it, score, and also the achieved. Clear? Is that clear, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now we start with students. We suppose that we have this kind of student. Oops, what happened? Okay, student 11, student 12, student 13. Names here: Ali, here Zaina, here Ali. Okay, their phone numbers like this. Okay, so here if we make it integer, if let's say we put 0 here, 0 is gone, right? So that's why it cannot be integer. It's supposed to be string. Okay, and here the email, whatever email do we have, no problem. Okay, this is not our issue. Here is let's come to the course. Suppose that we have course like this is K3408 SKR 3W09. This course is called database application development. So we will short it as that. And here the other course is network protocols, maybe. So here we could say that database application development. Okay, this is the course name, and here we have network protocols. Okay, so here the start date, suppose that this database application development starts on 1st on October 20 and ends on 10th of October 20. Okay, full mark supposed to use 100, and instructor here is for example Ali. And here suppose this one starts on 1st of May 2020, and this course is quite long, so maybe it ends after, for example, 2 months. So maybe it ends on by the, for example, 30 of June. 30 of June. So the duration is 2 months. 30 of June 20. So the full mark, for example, is 200, and the teacher is Dr. for example, Sally. Okay, so here we have these names. Suppose that we have other courses, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4 is A, B, C, for example, whatever here, status whatever, date means whatever date, the full mark is 100 or whatever, then this course is given by Dr. Ali. Okay. Or maybe we put anything here, or whatever. So maybe this course is also starts and ends at the same time, maybe with the previous course. Then here, suppose that we have here student Ali. Oh, we have the same names. Ahmed. Student Ahmed has taken the first course. Maybe because these two courses started first, so maybe we put them first here. So this course may be taken by Ali and taken by also Khalid. So these two guys have registered in this course. So their enrollment, because the course starts on the 1st of May, so maybe they enrolled on, for example, 20 of April, for example, 2020. And maybe the Khalid is registered maybe before the course starts by only 1 day. So maybe his registration is 29 of April 2020, something like this. Then the score is, for example, still empty. Still empty. Why? Because the course doesn't finish, doesn't end yet. But after the course ends, the end of the course we have here. But the end of the course doesn't mean is the date of achieving the score. The date of achieving the score actually is the date we saved the score here. So maybe the instructor saved the score maybe after 1 or 2 days. Then, for example, he got 60 over 100. Sorry, that one is 200. So maybe we give 160 over 200. Then the achieved date maybe is on 2nd of July. Maybe the other person also got the score in the same date, so maybe he got 170 on the same date. So this is very possible. Okay. Is there any issue so far?
No.
No, right? Okay, let us make this. That. Okay. What's about the other course? This course. Suppose that this course has been taken by 2 students also, maybe Zaina and Khalid, 12 and 13. Okay. Then the course starts here. So maybe maybe Khalid have enrolled in these 2 courses at the same day, and Zaina may be enrolled in 25th or of April, like that, and maybe they got this kind of results. So this course full mark is 100. So maybe this Zaina got 80, and this guy got 91, for example. Okay. So maybe they also got the result on maybe 5th of July 2020, 5th of July, or maybe after 1 day. If the group is very big, so maybe the instructor cannot finish the marking in the same date, right? So he can key in the information in different dates. So here maybe he got in 6th of July 2020. Okay, correct? So far, everything is good, right?
Yes.
Okay. What if, let's say, this guy has failed in the course 09? Suppose that this guy got 60, and he wants to retake the course. So he will take the course like this, and maybe he will intake. He got the result on the 2nd of September, the 2nd of this course is 2 months. Okay, the 2nd of July. Maybe the second intake is the 1st of October, the 1st of August, for example. So he will register like 15 of July 2020. He registered again or enrolled again in the same course to retake the course. Okay, to improve marks. So maybe he after that he got 150. After 2 months, he started on the other day. So here, if this is the case, like that, so here we will get repeating the code. So as I mentioned, because here we did not mention what kind of intakes we are going to use. So in this case, maybe we will have numbers like this. So maybe the second intake is starting on 1st of August. ends on 30th of September, and it's not given by Dr. Ali, maybe it's given by Dr. Muhammad. Okay? So in this case, here, the first intake was taken by, the course code is like this, and here now the second intake, the course ID is different. Okay? As we know here, this could be an issue because here we have data duplication, right? So in this case, we have to find solution. If let's say this is the scenario, but because this one is not our business now, I'm not going to think about it. Okay? I'm also going to explain to you how to solve the issue of the anomalies here. So maybe this guy retake the course of the 3309 with different doctor to improve his marks. And suppose that he have done that, and he got 150 over 200, and he achieved that the result maybe after the end of the course by maybe 2 or 3 days, or maybe on the 5th of October, like this. Okay. The problem here is that here, this causes an anomaly. Okay? Because here the existence of an entity is linked by the existence of another entity, which is totally wrong. Which is what? Totally wrong. At the beginning, when we start learning database, I told you, if there are two entities in the same table, don't let them together. You have to separate them to make your life easy, to avoid many possible anomalies from the beginning. So this one actually is wrong concept, because later when you want to complete your application, maybe you want to develop like website or whatever, Windows Forms application or whatever, then this entities actually is going to be reflected into classes, right? So if your course class has instructor entity inside it, it's wrong, right? Because these two are different objects, right? So the rules of creating object-oriented design is to create one class for each object. So the instructor is an object. It's supposed to have a class, right? The course is an object, also have to have different class. So this instructor shouldn't be in the table of the course. Okay? Why shouldn't be in the table of the course? Because here, if let's say we have a new teacher joined us, but until now we didn't assign him a course to teach, how we are going to enter his information to the system? Is it possible to say Dr. For example, Amina, for example, like this, without anything, without any information? Not possible, right? Because here we have to have a course code, because the primary key is the course ID, right? So we have to put, so maybe we need to put something fake. Something fake. Maybe we put like 0000, for example. That means we not yet assign any course to it, to this teacher. Do you agree, guys?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes. So this case here is what they call it insertion anomaly. So insertion anomaly is when we need to insert another object to get able to insert one object. So here, to insert the instructor, we need to insert also course, right? Or the opposite way, when we, for example, if let's say we have another course called EFG 5567, for example, and this course is new, maybe called EFG, okay, and this course actually we want to add into the system, in this case, we have to insert the instructor, right? So maybe the instructor here is Dr. Amina. Okay, so here the insertion of one object causes insertion of another object because Dr. Amina is not available there before this case. Am I right? So maybe the full mark is like this. Maybe the enrollment is 15 of December 2020, and this one is, for example, 15/11/2020, and the course name is whatever, like this. Okay, so this is what they call it, insertion anomaly caused by the instructor. What else? If let's say Dr. Ali doesn't want his name to be like this, so maybe his name is not Ali. Some colleagues from Iran, their names are Ali Riza. Okay, so maybe in this case, if let's say his name is Ali Riza, like this, then we have to modify here and go there, also modify. So if we forget, we modified here and forget to modify here, then we have two different names to the same person, right? To the same object. This is what they call it, inconsistency caused by modification anomaly. Okay, so in order to modify, we have to go to multiple places to modify. Okay, also this guy, if this guy is one person and his name is wrong, maybe Saleh, like this, so we modify only in one place. Okay, so this is what they call it, modification anomaly. Okay, it's also caused by the same issue, by the instructor field in the course table. Okay, do you agree so far, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, what's another anomaly? The other anomaly is called the deletion anomaly, right? Deletion, sorry, here. Deletion anomaly. Okay, so we got this, we got this. We still have also deletion anomaly. So in the case of Dr. Amina, if, for example, we deleted this record of the course EFG 5567, the record of Dr. Amina is also going to be deleted, right? So if we delete this, there's no Dr. Amina anymore. Correct or not? So the deletion of course causes deletion of instructor. And also if we delete the instructor, it will affect the existence of another course, because we cannot give a course without instructor. Okay, so this is what they call it, deletion anomaly. The solution to this is to make, or to take this here, instructor table, instructor table, and we put here ID, we put here name, then here, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. Okay, this one Ali Riza is available here, Saleh is here, then Muhammad is here. Okay, then here instead of this we put instructor ID. So here Ali Riza is 1, Dr. Saleh is 2, Ali Riza is also 1, Dr. Muhammad is 3. Okay, so is there a deletion anomaly here? So if we delete this record of the network protocols that has only instructor number 3, if we deleted this, the instructor still be here in the instructor table, is not going to be deleted. So the deletion anomaly is no more available. Okay, also if we want to insert data here, it's not going to require inserting another entity, data for another entity. So if let's say we want to assign, for example, let us take the same scenarios. If let's say Dr. Amina came to our school or to our faculty, Dr. Amina, so we easily go and insert her name here into this table without attaching any course to her. So here insertion anomalies, there is no insertion anomaly. Then here for the, if let's say we want to give a course, if G like 2233, for example, to here, the course, for example, is if G, and here whatever, this here is also whatever, and here the mark is like this, and the instructor is number 4. So here we did not insert any new entity. Okay, so we here have to select from the existing here. If this course is attached to a new instructor, then before we insert this, we have to insert the new instructor here. So maybe you will say that inserting data for the course will require us to insert data for instructor also here in this design, right? But this is not correct, because here to insert this data into this table will require us to insert data in different table, which is higher level, because this one is strong type and this one is a weak type, because these two objects are not in the same table. So here, this is not considered as insertion anomaly. This is considered insertion priority. Insertion priority. So the priority is to have instructor first to get the course inserted into your system. But the existing of the instructor is not linked by the existence of the course. So maybe if this one is nullable, so maybe at the beginning we can say that this course is null until we find teacher, right? So no need to insert. Okay. Okay, what else? If let's say this guy name is wrong, Ali Reza. So maybe it has a space here, like that. So we modify in only one place, right? So this modification will be applied for these two records. No need to go to many places to modify. Okay? So this is what they call it data anomalies. So please guys, be careful. Try to avoid them from the beginning. So to avoid this scenario from the beginning, if you create the instructor table like that from the beginning, then you came to the normalization, you will find only the full mark issue, which was here attached to the enrollment table, that causes what they call it, causes partial dependency. So in the second level of the normalization, you will get this full mark pushed to the course table to solve that issue. But after that, everything will be in the second normalization form. And after that, immediately you will find your system in the third normalization form, and also in the fourth, in the fifth, and so on. Okay? Because here we don't have anything to modify. Okay, guys? We go here now. We go here now, and we insert what they call it table here. We call it instructor, and we have ID, and we have name. Name is in bar chart, for example, 100, and then we have the primary key is the ID. Okay, then we have the course here, instead of this instructor, we have to remove it. And then we connect from here to here. Okay, this one needs to be modified to instructor ID. One more thing need to be modified is the name of the tables. So we must make them in plural. Courses, enrollments, students. Okay, so here we are. The scenario is corrected, modified. Okay. So far, is there any problem? Do you have any question, guys, so far?
No.
No.
Okay. Now I am going to explain you, because this one now is based on our assignment, based on the requirements in our assignment. But if, let's say, we are doing this design for a real school or for a real faculty or whatever, then we have to think about better scenario. Okay. Is the course and instructor are directly linked to each other?
Yes.
No. In the real life, in the real scenario, are not linked to each other directly. Why? Because the course should be existing no matter the instructor exists or not. Okay, so the course should be existing even we don't have any instructor for that course. Then that course could be assigned to multiple instructors in the same intake based on different groups, and also could be assigned for only one instructor for every semester. For example, for every intake, only one instructor will teach that course. So it depends on what scenario. So if, let's say, we want to take the scenario of what happened in our faculty, that the course could be offered in different groups. Right or not?
Yes.
Yes. Are you with me, guys, or not?
Yes, Doctor.
If you are not with me, why I should talk? Why I should waste my time? Yeah, I am here to teach you something very important. Please, guys, pay attention. Okay. Here, if, let's say, like our course, database application development, is offered for 8 groups every year. 8 groups every year. Each group is given by different instructors. Each group is given by different instructors. Or it could be given to multiple groups, and that groups could be touched by the same instructor. So how we think about it? Okay, let us think about it. Let us create a groups table. Okay, then here, what do we have here? We have the, actually the group is based on the course, right? So we have what they call it, course ID, like this. And this one is varchar, for example, 15. And we have group ID, right? Group ID. Group ID is ID. So for example, in our group now, our group is group number 5, right? Is it group
Yeah.
number 5? So
Yes.
the code of our group is like this: SSK 3408-5, right? So the identifier of the group is mixed between the course ID and the group ID, right? So this is based on the nature, based on the business requirement. So here we will create two fields. One field is the course ID and the other field is the group ID. Then here we attach the instructor. Instructor actually is integer, right? Instructor ID. Okay. So instead of having this field here, we are going to remove this. Instructor, remove. Instead of having this, we are going to have, because the ID of the course is here in this table, we will drag from the strong table to this table. Okay, so this one actually is here. Okay, that one is going to be deleted. Okay, course ID is foreign key. And let us take another connection from here to here. So the instructor ID actually is going to be, I will delete that. That's why we want to have different fields for the same name. Then after that we need this, okay, like this. And this one, the group ID is an automatic number that's given to each group. Okay, so this is the group. We still have something missing. Do you think? What do you think? What thing is missed here?
Primary key.
Sorry.
Primary key.
Yes, the primary key actually is this tree, right? Is it? Is it this tree?
Yes.
No, wrong. It's not correct. Do you know why? Because if we make it that way, then we could have group number 5 for the same course with different instructors. And this is not allowed, right? This is not allowed. So instructor is excluded. Primary key is this. Okay? Because the group ID, group number 1 could be repeated with each course, right? With each course, we could have group number 1. So group number 1 could be repeated. So GID cannot be unique. It's unique only when we attach it to the course ID. Okay? Then what do we have to insert? Again, we have to insert what they call it, intake. Intakes. Okay, intakes here should have primary key. What's the primary key here? The primary key is the date, right? The starting date. So the intake, if let's say in UBM they say February intake, right? This is the identifier for the intake. And that intake is used for all courses, for all students, for all staff, right? Everything is based on the intake. So the intake date is the primary key, right? So here we make it date, then we make the primary key here as the intake. What else? What else do we have? Start. Start. Date. And in date here. So this one is date. This one is also date. Like that. Right or not? So the start and the date now is not belongs to the course anymore. That's why we need to remove them from the course. This is the based on real scenario, not for our assignment. Okay. Then here we may have, for the intake, we may have different information like registration start date, for example, when the registration is going to be started for that intake. It's very important data, right? Also, when the registration ends. Okay, so no need here to mention date. You need to mention the time and the date. One more thing. We may have like late registration. Late registration is allowed until a certain date, right? So we need to keep that information here. Then what else? What else do we have? Maybe the final exam start date. Also, this is going to be decided from the beginning, right? Also, final exam end. Many information is needed, and that all of that information are going to be inserted into the intake. So here the course, the groups, and everything is not going to be involved. I mean, to save this information. The only thing that we have to do is to create a link between the intake and the group. Okay. Then if the intake here is taken into the group table, what's about the primary key? Is it still valid or not? Is it still valid or not?
Yes.
Yes, still valid. Sure? Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. Let me give you an example. For this course, database application development, in every year we have what they call it, 8 groups for the same course, right? So the group number 5 with the same course code is going to be repeated in the table. So how come it's going to be a unique value? This is the question, right? So group number 5 this year in this course is different than the group number 5 of last year, right? How we can differentiate between them? By the intake date, right? By the intake date. Sorry, this one is wrong spelling. Okay, so the intake date have to be inserted to the, attached to the primary key. Okay, do you got it?
Yes.
Okay, based on this scenario, now, if we go to the Excel sheet here, we go here, let us compress things here together. Here, instructor, actually this one is the group actually involves everything here. Okay, what do we have to do here actually? Instead of attaching to the course ID in this table, we need to modify something. Course ID is no more there. Instead of the course ID, we have to insert the group ID. We have to insert the group ID like that. Okay. So these three fields are representing the primary key of the groups. Okay, guys? But for practicality, this one actually is, yes, it's necessary. It's necessary to include the group ID, necessary to include the course ID, necessary to include the intake date. Okay? Okay, here instead of the, what they call it, enroll date, actually is going to be replaced by the intake date. Okay? So here, what do we have as a primary key here? We have for this table as a primary key, we have to include not the score, we have to include all of this. Student passport number with the foreign key, with the complete foreign key, which includes 3 fields. Okay, so all of these 4 fields are going to be used as a primary. Okay. Now let us go and think what's going to happen. What's going to happen in this case? Okay, course data, enrollment, and what do we have to have here is the. Are you still with me, guys, or not?
Yes.
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 Do you feel like you got lost? You're confused based on my design?
No, but it's detail.
Yeah, but these details are very necessary, right?
Yes.
These details are very necessary. We cannot avoid them. If the scenario, if we are working for UPM, we have to implement all of this. Otherwise, our system is not going to work, right? Okay. Now, let us verify. Let us check back our design, and is it working or not? This issue is always happening to me. Okay. So here, what do we have? We have course table. Course table here is still having the course ID, course name, description. Oh, these two are no more available here. So what we want to do is to take this, we put it here. Also, the full mark, if the full mark is fixed for a certain course, if let's say by rules in UPM, the database application development full mark is always necessary to be 100. Okay, so in this case, we have to keep the full mark here. But if the full mark is flexible, it can be different based on the instructor who can decide what's the full mark in each intake. Then the full mark could be shifted from the course, and it should be shifted to the group here, because the full mark could be different based on the group, based on the intake, based on the instructor, right? So every instructor could have his own full mark for each course. Okay, so it depends on what is the business rules. Okay, in UPM the full mark is always 100, so the course the full mark should be in the course table. Okay, do you agree, guys? Do you understand the other scenario if we shift the full mark to the groups table? Is it clear or not?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so the course now is confirmed. Correct. What's about the student? Student table. Passport, name, phone number, email. Okay, still confirmed. Still confirmed. What's about the instructor? Instructor table still confirmed. the only table that we have to change is, let me delete this. The only table that we have to change is the enrollment, and also we have to introduce the group. Also, we have to introduce the intake. Okay, for the enrollment here, what do we have? We have the course ID, we have the student ID here, we have the enrollment date. This one, it will be changed to the intake date. And actually, this intake date is not a normal date like this. It's normally a string. What they call it? They call it like first semester 2019-2020, for example. This is what they call it, intake ID. Okay, but in here we are going to keep it like intake date. Then we will use different description for it. Okay, so here we have the course ID, student ID, intake, and the group, right? This one we should let it go. So here we check this as well. So here we have, oops, this one. Group ID. So no more these numbers are available. Remove them. Okay. Now here the group ID, this could be group number one, this one also group number one. This one is, for example, what is this? Enrollment, right? This one, for example, group number two. Okay, then here we have to have the groups table, and here we have to mention each group, how we create it. So the data here, the data for enrollment, it will be like this. For semester intake, like this, what they call it, I 2019/20, like this. This one is also I means 1 also. Okay, so from here we will understand that the group number 1, this course, from this course, group number 1, we have 2 students in this intake, right? So we may have different students in different groups. For example, maybe this one could be in group number 2. Okay, could be in group number 2 in the same intake. So different student in the same intake for the same course in different group. Okay, is that clear, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so any question so far?
No.
No, doctor.
No questions. Okay, what if I give you the second assignment? The second assignment that's going to be considered as test 2, to create a complete system for school. to consider the intake, to consider the groups, to consider the instructors, to consider the different groups could be given by the same instructor or could be given by different instructors. Maybe the full mark for the course is decided by the instructor based on the intake. Can you make that?
Inshallah, Doctor.
Yes. So based on my explanation today, have you corrected some thoughts that was wrongly understood before?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, Doctor.
sure. Yeah.
Okay, this is sure. I am sure that you corrected some thoughts, but I am sure also that you have confused in some parts. Can you tell me what parts that confuses you?
I think it's not about confusing, but it's just thinking into detail and thinking into how each attribute need to be applied. It's just
Yes, yes.
that one is confusing.
The main
For example,
thing,
like
the
for
main
example,
thing,
like yeah, okay.
the main thing to be in the safe side to consider the rules of designing good database and the business rules at the same time. So don't do anything unnecessary, not required, and don't miss any rules. If the requirement rules are given by a company or by university to you to create a system, then you have to satisfy all requirements. You have to consider all of the requirements given by the customer while while keeping the database rules safe. So don't break any database design rule. So you always have to be, your design have to be free of anomalies. Your tables shouldn't keep information for multiple entries in the same table. Don't break your tables into unnecessary small tables. Also, every table must have primary key. Relations between tables must be reflected into foreign keys. Also, all of these rules have to be taken into account always while taking the organizational business rules. Okay? This is the main point that I want to give you this day. Okay? Today I want you to focus only on the main point of considering these two rules, database rules and organizational business rules together in your account. Okay, guys? What do you want to say?
Nothing. Okay.
Yeah, you already got to the point.
Yeah.
You want to say that it's not a matter of confusion, it's a matter of up to what level we need to take.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
for my example, I I just get confused with the full mark and the score attribute. So when I get wrong there, everything is wrong. So it's just a matter of understanding the non-key attributes that need to be key or need to be do a table. It's just like that for me lah.
But anyway, you even if you understand the full mark as you understood it, you shouldn't make it in different table. You cannot make it into different table because this thing is not an object. It's a property of another object. Cannot be saved in separated file. Am I right or not?
Yeah, yeah.
The score is for an entity called something, and that something involves the student ID with the course ID, with the intake or whatever, which is called the adding the course. So when we add a course in our transcript, we will get the score in front of it, right? Right or not?
Yes.
In UBM
Yes.
system, when you add course, you will get a record, right? Then later,
Yeah.
after you finish the course, your mark will be in front of that record, right?
Yes.
So the score is related to that record, to that object, which is the enrollment. So for each enrollment, we have to have a score. So that enrollment could fail, could success, right? Could fail or success based on what? Based on the score. So it's one object that has multiple properties or multiple attributes. So we have always to think about where is the correct place and what's the relation between the attributes and the objects and names, the correct names of the object or the correct scenarios that happens in the real life. We have to think that way, because guys, this kind of courses actually is what they call it philosophy based. So there is no standard answer. There is no standard answer. Maybe I design in one way, then you design your database for the same application in different way. But we have about 90 or 95% will be the same. Even if you bring 100 designers with like 20 or 50, even 50 or 40 years of experience, with designers with 5 or 10 years of experience, they will have about 90 to 95% common between their designs, because that 90 or 95% are coming from the database rules. The only difference between their designs could be because of the way they understood the business rule. Okay, so understanding the business rule is very, very important. So maybe some of them, they will design the database assuming that the student cannot retake the course. Maybe the other one will think about this and he will ask, is it allowed or not allowed, or maybe possible or whatever. So depends on the answer, he will change the design. So here, their designs could be a little bit different. Okay, guys?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, doctor.
Okay. I shouldn't actually use Excel here to explain to you, because this one is very basic and we should use database. Actually, we should create databases and we create the information and so on. But because I understand that this is your first time to deal with this kind of work, that's why I wanted to make it easy for you. But after the semester break, no more Excel, okay? After the semester break, we will start to create our scheme and we will start to work on it. And also, each of you have to be involved in one group, okay? Then every group should have, because we are 25, I'm going to allow only 5 groups. So you have to divide yourselves into 5 groups. Okay? Maximum number in each group is 5. Maximum number is 5. Minimum number is 4. Okay? Okay, guys? So we will have 4 groups of 5 members. One group only will be 4 members. Please try to feel free to use the WhatsApp group to discuss about your groups, project groups, and you have also to decide the topic before the semester break ends. Okay. Actually, the group project is working this way. We will decide one topic for each group, then each group have to do the task. So you have to start from the entity relationship diagram, then after that you transform to the relational schema, then after that you create it into your database, then after that you build the user interfaces using what they call it HTML, JSP, and so on, to create interface to insert data into table, to create interface to delete data, to create interface to modify, to create interface to search, and so on. Okay?
Okay.
Like what we have in last year, this is my student group projects. One of them, they created this. It's not mine, actually. This is not my design. This is my student's design last semester, last year. Okay? So you see how complicated is that? Okay? Then we have the college registration system. And we have food ordering system. You see food ordering system, how complicated is it? And also we have library system. We had also music library system. It's also very complicated. Okay. Then here we have online purchasing scarf database. This one is also very complicated. You see? This is the work of my students last year. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups last year. This year we have only 5 groups. Okay? If you want me to share with you this, I can share with you, but I don't want you to use this system. If you want me to share, you have to look for different projects, different cases. Okay? If you want to use this scenarios, then I'm not going to share with you. Decide. What do you want? You want me to share and you find different applications, or you stuck with this? Decide, guys.
I think start with
What do you think?
start with
Free.
can view the database, the internet entity relationship diagram.
You want me to share with you this?
I think, but I think you need to ask others also.
Uh-huh. Okay, I prefer to share with you, and also I prefer you to find different applications. Honestly, I'm telling you, but I don't want to make it hard for you. That's why I want you to decide. And don't worry, guys. They are not smarter than you. My students who created this kind of systems last year are not smarter than you, because they already got my comments day by day until we reached this design. So every time you design, you have to present your design. Then after that, we discuss on the diagram. I open it, I see what mistakes do you have created, and I tell you about the mistakes. Then we modify that mistakes together until we improve, until we reach the final design. Okay, so I will tell you how we are going to do. After the semester break, the week number 8, we have to dedicate 1 day for the group project. Only 1 day every week. Okay, so in that day, before the week 8 start, you have to be grouped, and every group have to have a topic. Okay, then at the week 8, for example, on Wednesday, every group must present their design. So you can send to me the design after you create it on the entity relationship diagram. You can export it and send it to me. Then I open it here. I share with others. We discuss what mistakes do you have. I give you my comments. Then you go back and modify. After you modify, the next week you can share with me I open with in front of all of you. Then we discuss. We see whether we still have some issues or not. Then this entity relationship diagram shouldn't take more than 2 weeks. After that, you should be able to transform to your database in 1 week. We confirm that your database is transformed in a good manner. Then after that, you start with building your application. Okay, so together step by step until you reach the end. Then for the final project, you have, I think, 20 marks, right? Is it 20 or not? Yeah, this one, group project, 20 marks. So you have to work it, you have to take it seriously, because this one is free 20 marks. Honestly, I'm telling you, it's free 20 marks. You shouldn't waste any mark from them. But if you don't work properly, then you are going to lose. Okay? So by the end of the semester, you have to present your application, including the web interfaces, show me the insert interface, delete interface, modify interface, or edit mode interface, and also the searching interface. Okay? I'm not going to tell you that you have to build all models in your system, but we have to select. After you design, you finish the database design, I will select for you. Maybe I will ask you to create the interfaces for the orders only. Okay, or maybe for the menu items only. Okay? Then after that, you can take this subject, you can continue for final year project. Okay?
Okay, Doctor.
Okay.
Yeah. Inshallah, together we make it. Inshallah. Just
Doctor,
pay attention and be serious. Okay? Yes.
for the group topic, right?
Yes.
So each groups must be unique, right? The topic.
Yes.
Okay.
Each group must be unique and every member must work, because later I'm going to evaluate you individually. Okay? So if I ask you some questions, I understand that you don't do anything in your final in your group project, then you are going to get 0. Okay? So try to involve yourself in the team work. Every member must work. Okay, guys? If let's say one of the group is, you agree that one person is involved or responsible to create the initial diagram or whatever, then after that you sit together through online platform, then you discuss, you modify and so on. You try to understand. Even if you don't make it, you try to understand it. Okay? Okay, guys?
Okay.
Yeah. Any question?
No.
Yeah, I think everything is clear, right? So after the semester break, inshallah, we immediately work.
Yes.
Yeah, inshallah.
Doctor,
Yes,
Inshallah.
yes.
when is the deadline to come up with the topic?
Deadline is before the semester break ends.
Okay.
So before the start of the week 8. So you have the entire week, this week, and the next week. Okay, I will give you a date. Okay, this week is, today is 30, this week ends by 5, the next week ends by 12. So the first day in week 8 is day 13, right?
14.
14. Ah, yes, day 14. Okay, so 13 is the last day. 13 of December. Okay?
For the deadline 13 of December, we just need to come up with the topic or with the diagram as well.
Is 13 of December is the last date to group yourself,
On topic.
yourselves, and to decide a topic for each group. Okay, done. I think it's more than enough. So the first thing now, you start creating your groups as quickly as you can. The other thing, after you create your group, then you start discussing together to find the topic. After you find the topic, you just share into the group. Then I will discuss with you immediately on the WhatsApp. I will advise you or give you my comments. Then, inshallah, you can decide. Okay.
Okay.
So I will create like this group number 1, for example, group number. Then after that, the topic, and here, sorry, and bus here. Okay, like this. So for every group, you have to write your name when you decide. For group number 1, you write me that group number 1 is working, is going to include person number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then after that, we start to decide the topic. Okay. Here in this group, just copy your name and paste it in the same way I showed you. Okay. Inshallah. See you inshallah tomorrow. Okay. If there is no question, if you still have a question, please let me know. Any question?
Doctor, this meeting will be shared to YouTube, right?
Yes, inshallah.
Okay.
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 Then, if you have no questions, I have to leave. Thank you very much, and see you inshallah tomorrow.
Thank you, Doctor.
Doktor.